Okay, so multiple reports out on Twitter currently that the Patriots are aggressively pursuing a trade for 49ers wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk. They are aggressively pursuing it, which is pretty big verbiage. Look, the deal is that, the 49ers will trade Brandon Aiyuk for the right price. I think that price could be a couple third round picks. I think that would probably be good enough for the 49ers to dish him off. I think it's clear that there's a little bit of pressure on Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch for dishing out these massive contracts over the last several years and not winning a Super Bowl. And I think it's safe to say that Jed York, the 49ers owner, could very well kind of be putting the pressure on them to figure out how to get rid of some of these contracts. I think it's safe to say that there are members within the 49ers organization that were never thrilled about giving Brandon Aiyuk $30 million per year. There's a report that came out about this a couple weeks ago that I actually made a video on. But the writing's on the wall. Like, I think the 49ers know that they screwed up giving Brandon Aiyuk all this money. He's not necessarily the best team player on the 49ers. And I don't think that's what the 49ers are looking for. They just traded Deebo Samuel to get rid of his contract. And Brandon Ayuk's contract for the next 3 years is horrible. It looks terrible for the 49ers. I mean, he's going to be coming off of a very serious knee injury, and the 49ers gave him $30 million per year. So it makes sense as to why they would trade him for the right price. And it seems to me that, the Patriots are probably the front runners to trade for Brandon Aiyuk. And I think, I don't know if Brandon Aiyuk has interest in going to New England, but it doesn't matter because at the end of the day, the 49ers will dish him wherever if they get the right compensation back in return. Obviously, we know how Brandon Aiyuk played before he tore his ACL. And it seems to me that the 49ers have buyer's remorse, and they're probably going to do everything they can to get rid of this contract. So I would not be shocked if we see an offseason where the 49ers trade both Deebo Samuel and Brandon Aiyuk. And obviously, he's got a double knee ligament tear, which is not always considered the most sensible move for somebody to trade for, but I think the biggest thing for New England is they have the money to spend. I think Aiyuk has demonstrated the ability to be one of the better route runners in all of football when he's healthy. He's going to be turning 27 later this month. So he technically still is in the prime of his career or just entering the prime of his career. But I definitely think the 49ers are probably going to be working and doing whatever they can to get rid of this contract for Brandon Aiyuk, which would mean they got some holes at wide receiver. And now wide receiver, if you trade Brandon Aiyuk, immediately becomes one of the bigger needs on the team. And I'm not, there's guys out there that the 49ers can sign. Amari Cooper, Rondale Moore, Christian Kirk was just released by the Jaguars a couple days ago, so he could be a suitor. Devontae Adams is out there and could potentially be a suitor. So there's going to be guys out there that they can sign. But the fact of the matter is Brandon Ayuk's probably not going to be able to come back and play until December. They gave him a $30+ million contract per year last season, and what was kind of regarded as like the 49ers' last real chance to get to the Super Bowl and to win it. And all hell broke loose. They won 6 total games last season. You don't think Jed York's probably, and some of the higher-ups are probably not sitting back and going like, look, we wrote all these checks that you told us to write, and you're not winning any Super Bowl. There's nothing that is, coming from us just dishing these checks off. It's easy to understand why that could be the situation going on in San Francisco. And I'm sure there's a little bit of pressure on Kyle and John to get rid of some of these contracts. And if they're going to be more hard-lined this offseason, you would probably trade Brandon Aiyuk. The contract is horrible. You save a lot of money. You could save over $100 million over the next couple years if you release him. It's something I seen on in an article a couple days ago about how much money that they could save and whatnot. But yeah, man, I mean, I definitely think, the Patriots are probably the front runners. It seems to me that they were one of the only teams really aggressively pursuing a trade for him. Drake May needs new weapons. It makes sense for New England. They have a lot of money from what I know. And I definitely think that if the compensation is right, Brandon Aiyuk will be traded. And again, this could be an all-season where we see both of the 49ers' top two wide receivers in Debo and in Brandon Aiyuk get traded. And they're in heavy pursuit of Brandon Aiyuk. So, don't be surprised if a deal gets done with Brandon Aiyuk to send him to the New England Patriots very soon. It could be a situation where New England's just calling about him and seeing what it takes for him to get signed or for him to get traded. But the fact of the matter is I don't think the 49ers will trade Brandon Aiyuk unless that price tag's right. And it seems to me that, it's not like the 49ers are just going to take like a 7th-round pick for Brandon Aiyuk just to get rid of that contract. I mean, they may even be fine with like a 4th and a 3rd-round pick. Like, that may be all it takes to get a contract done or to get a trade done for Brandon Aiyuk. So we will see what happens. But again, the New England Patriots are aggressively pursuing a trade for Brandon Aiyuk. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. As always, go Niners. I'll see you guys in the next one.